My plan to reform civil forfeiture and the plan H.R. 1843 is most certainly winning the debate. First, I'll concede that my source for H.R. 1843 was incorrect, but that does not have a lot to do with the actual debate. To his refutation on my inherency and my second advantage, his anecdote is a cherry-picked case of police and civilians working together. As a driver and civilian myself, I can say how frightening it is to see a police officer on the road. Even if I do nothing wrong except a small misdemeanor like not using my blinker, he can pull me over and legally take all the cash out of my wallet, the glove compartment, between the seats, anywhere. To his refutation on my inherency of my first advantage, what he said is not entirely true. His claim was that there must be a probable cause to issue the warrant based on an affidavit that describes persons or things to be searched and seized. This simply states that a search warrant can help prevent police officers from taking your own cash or any kind of property you own. However, according to peopleslaw.org, there are multiple ways police can seize property without a warrant. These include probable cause exists to believe that the property is dangerous to health or safety, or probable cause exists to believe that the property has been or is intended to be used illegally. Because whether or not there is a probable cause up to the police officers, one can conclude that it is extremely easy for police to just take the stuff from you and claim that it was involved in drug trafficking or illegal weapons purchases. These also happen to be the two most common causes for civil forfeiture. And another problem with this is that there's not a lot of trust in the police in the first place, so police making the decisions of whether there is a probable cause or not is not what the civilians want. In his refutation on my harms of my first advantage, he claimed that no records show the truth unveiled by Mandrill Stewart. However, since the Washington Post is a credible news source, that article that I cited is enough evidence to believe that what Mandrill Stewart said really happened. In the first advantage, my impact stated that people will stop losing money to unfair civil forfeitures, and that police departments will be punished for taking any money or property that is not actually linked to crime. In my second advantage, my impact stated that the public gains more trust in police, making police stops easier. Police officers' jobs will be easier, and so reforming civil forfeiture seems to be very, very advantageous in not screwing people over and improving the relationships between civilians and police. However, his impact of my plan, as he claimed, would result that money from civil forfeiture would be no longer available to state and local governments. My impacts are much more. Both of our impacts are very probable, but the magnitude of his impacts is not very high, because according to Statistia.com statistics, tax revenue in 2016 was at its highest point ever. It is clear that losing money from unfair civil forfeiture is not a totally common thing, but the probability is still quite high considering how easy it is for police officers to do this. When it does happen to someone, however, it is a high magnitude situation because it can ruin someone's life, as in the case of Mandrill Stewart, who had to shut down his barbecue chicken restaurant. Another point my opponent failed to answer was that story of Matt Lee, who sued to get his money back after he had a takeaway due to civil forfeiture, and in the end he got less than half of it back. Judging off of these two stories, the magnitude of this first impact is very high. For my second impact, distrust in the police is extremely probable and widespread, and it does not have a very high magnitude, at least evidently. However, according to a Gallup poll from 2015, police confidence is at its lowest point in 22 years. This reflects the low trust in the police and how enormously widespread and probable it is. Almost half the population does not trust the police. The impact he noted was about money, state, and local governments having less income for their already too big bureaucracies. However, in the second cross-examination, he conceded that it wouldn't be fair to the people whose money is being taken away, but at least the money is going to good use, unlike in Mexico, where they take the money away and the people at the top use it for themselves. While it is a fair point to say that the money does or sometimes can go to good use in the United States, again, tax revenue in 2016 was at its highest point ever. So I'm winning the debate because while we might get less government income with the H.R. 1843 plan, unwarranted seizure will decrease and public trust in the police will increase, which is much more beneficial than a few millions of dollars.